But what's been your favorite part of the campus experience that maybe you didn't expect would be?
Well, there's a good walking path that I think we're all out on there on that path every day. But that's a good mental kind of escape for me. That's been nice every day. You know me, I love the team room, and even though that we're not doing something every single day as a full traveling party, there's just been great random moments where we're able to go in there and have conversations and laugh and joke. That part has been great. And then the lake right out in front of our team room. Staff has been doing a lot of fishing, which I've been out there observing quite a bit. And I think I will partake pretty soon.
I know you're not where you want to be yet basketball-wise because you can't be after a few days, but when you're here in an environment like this, the bonds, I'm not saying the bonds fell apart in 4 months, but they weren't the same when you got back together. Has this accelerated the getting back to becoming a team?
Yeah, I always felt those opportunities in training camp where you're spending so much time together, you know, in the meal rooms, on the buses, before and after practice, and then in the evenings. I think those are all great opportunities to get to know each other and have those opportunities away from the basketball court. And that's why this is unique, even though we're preparing for the playoffs. In that regard, it's similar to the team bonding that you would typically do during a training camp, which I like.
Thanks, Bo.
Barry Jackson, go ahead.
Hi, Erik. When you're healthy, and God willing you will be when the games start, you'll have 13 players who are in an NBA rotation at some point this season. And I know, as you said, you're open to anything, but I wondered during the break, when you were out in your backyard by the grill, would you ever think of potential combos of how to use all of those NBA proven rotation players and jot them down on a notepad?
Of course. You know, that's where the mind of a head coach in this league will always go, probably every day. But I don't know if there's ever been more of a need to have depth and have players on your roster that you feel comfortable playing in a game than right now. And what that'll exactly mean for our rotation, I don't know, but I'm open to it, and I just know that we'll play. If not all of the guys, will be pretty dang close to it.
Thanks.
Ira, go ahead.
Hey, Erik, how are you doing?
Good.
I'm just curious. Usually about now, we'd be getting done with training camp about a weekend, and you could see the guys' looks. They want to get home. After a long road trip, I remember in Utah, the guys had the look of, okay, heading home, feel good. How are you sort of, as a relationship guy, going to keep things fresh and interesting? And sort of how have you thought about that now that this keeps going and going and going?
Yeah, we're not at that point, you know, right now. I think everybody's wrapped their mind around that this is different. It's not a normal road trip. It's not a normal training camp. And although nobody really knows for sure how long you'll be here, we know it's an extended period of time. So it just has a different feel than a typically long road trip would have.
And then just a typical question, have any players had to be held out because of injuries or ailments or things like that?
No, not yet.
Good. Thank you, Erik.
Shane Young, go ahead.
Nice, Bo. Thanks for taking the time. Bam has quickly become one of the best screen setters and DHO guys in the league. Is that a quality that you and the coaching staff spend a lot of time working on? And what makes him so superb there?
Well, he has a willingness and an attention to detail. He had a lot of those skills, maybe not the dribble handoff when he came in, but that's something we developed right when he started working with us. But it's the all facets of his game and the improvement in all those other areas that have really made him special. His work ethic, determination, his persistence every day is allowing Bam to become a much better basketball player and a player that doesn't have a ceiling in my mind.
Kristen Ferraro, go ahead.
Hey, it's actually Clay on my wife's account. Spo, there was kind of a funny story last night about Jimmy Butler and the NBA hotline getting called on him for a noise complaint for dribbling in his room late at night. I mean, what does that say about him and the whole Heat culture thing, I guess?
Well, before people start writing about that, we were not giving players programs, to do those kind of things during the quarantine. But that's why I love Jimmy. Not why the one example. I mean, there's many things that he brings to the table, but he has an unparalleled work ethic, and he is a driven basketball player that really wants to help a team compete for a title, and he's willing to do anything. One of his greatest qualities is his level of discipline. That is really unique, how he can discipline himself with his work, what time he works out, his nutrition, his consistency every single day, his consistency of doing that during the off season and never getting out of shape. He's constantly working to get to another level. That is an act of discipline, and he is exceptional in that area. But I mentioned it before we got here. When you go and enter into a circumstance like this, in a playoff scenario where there are some uncertainties, you want to have guys like Jimmy Butler leading your organization because he's about the right things. And his work ethic is something, and his discipline is something that everybody, follows him, in that regard.